Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Today is Tuesday, January 13th, and this is your place for helpful crypto news, commentary, answers to your myriad questions, and later we'll talk about the mayor who launched a meme coin, and it went just about how you'd expect it to go. But first, I want to introduce our guest, Eric. Eric Pan is the founder and creator at Ericonomics. He is helping all kinds of people get a handle on the financial things they never taught you in school. And he's here to talk with us today about DeFi beyond, or maybe before, the wallet. Either way, we're going to get into it. Please welcome Eric to the show. Ericonomics, welcome back. Good to see you again, my friend. How you doing?
Thank you, Evan. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm a big fan, and it's truly a pleasure to be back on.
Man, you were on when I was at home visiting my family in Michigan, I do believe. You had a good conversation with the guys, and I was like,
It
this
was
guy's
just
really
like
sharp.
a lot of back talking, so you didn't miss out on much.
No, man, you were really sharp, and I've since loved watching your content. I love the way you make financial topics of all kinds accessible. I think you've got a lot of range, and I know our audience, if they're not familiar with you, will really enjoy digging into your content. Let me get it out of the way to say, if you want to play along at home, then where you need to go is Eric, spelled just like it sounds, Nomics, on pretty much every platform except Twitter. You were saying you had to do the underscore in front.
Yes.
Twitter, come on.
I had it in my handle.
I watch you the most on Instagram. It gives me a reason to go over there, actually. Your stories are always active. You've always got helpful, organized stuff there. And so people can find you, though, wherever they are, wherever they listen.
Thank you.
And we'll get into more of this stuff in a second, but I got to ask Alex and Will, how you guys doing today?
Oh, doing swell. I mean, like, might be a real opportunity here for us to get a nice little swing to the upside. Things are kind of bubbling up on the short term. So I have my eyes on a whole bunch of charts, and it's just really annoying. I have to go to New York today at like 3 o'clock, and I'm just like, so I'm just going to be like on my phone, just like, I wish I was at my computer.
Well, why don't you just go ahead and send me a bunch of money, and I'll take care of it for you, okay?
Oh.
I would do that for you.
You can diversify by sending some to me.
Yep. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah.
Me too.
Yep.
Well, guys, I appreciate all of you. This is great. I'll send you some USDC, and you guys just, send it back to me. If you could display it in a visual that just shows my money going up, and then just tell me the money's still there, that'd be great.
I can do that.
I'll tell you that I bought all of NYC token for it, though.
I mean, it's at a discount.
Yeah, buy the dip, right? And
you got to buy dip.
It dipped.
It did.
By about 95%, but, we call that a healthy correction.
Yeah, healthy
correction. And it's like, I never remember the guy's name who said, well, it was going down. What would you do? Who sold?
I know, some schmuck.
Mama B thing goes, I mean, as long as Will's sharing, I have room on my Arculus.
Just saying, it's not limited by space. Since you mentioned it again, I might as well go there.
Look at that chart.
If you missed this, in the middle of the night, it seems like everybody caught on to former mayor, now maybe disgraced mayor Eric Adams of New York City launched a crypto token, claiming it was an anti-Semitic thing, that it was going to like heal the neighborhood. Did you see he had this whole promo video?
I saw the promo video.
Walking around like shaking hands with people, kissing babies, and almost immediately, as you can see, the coin is down. It looks like one of those roller coasters at Cedar Point, man, the very first drop.
Nice.
So, Will, and I see Doug is here in the audience as well, thankfully. I'm wondering if you guys can just lend us some of your expertise to analyze this chart real quick. What are the technicals telling us
What's the
here?
technical pattern on this?
Oh, the technical pattern is the first of the two twin towers. So this is the first tower, and then it just collapsed. And then you invade Iraq and Afghanistan. And that's what has to happen. When you see that pattern, there's always an invasion.
That was very New York of you. Eric, as a resident, how do you feel about this? Do you have any words?
Will just summed it up fantastically well. I couldn't have said it any better. But yeah, less than 2 weeks out of office and already disgraced.
Oh, man. Well, shucks. What do you do? The politician and meme coin pipeline. Go ahead.
I like what's like already disgraced, as if the federal investigation into all of his crimes in office were also not enough of a disgrace.
Details, William.
That was so many news cycles ago. We've invaded like 2 countries and blown up a whole bunch of other places since then, and inflation
like
and the Fed,
a month ago, man.
Also Timothy Chalamet and I don't know, something.
Alex said backstage he's rehearsing for his federal political.
Yeah, he's auditioning for a role in the administration.
Oh.
I did think it was funny though, like
Could have had Andrew Yang. He was so close. God damn.
So close.
My people.
all the rug talk though. So like, just to be clear, the dude did actually rug the project. You don't even have to be that much of a sleuth to see that 3.4 million USDC was removed from the liquidity pool like within minutes. And that chart that we were just looking at, that was like, what was the time span on that thing? Like a couple hours?
It didn't have the timestamps on it, but I know that was over a couple of hours, and it was pretty immediate though that he launched and then pulled the
went
token
to
out.
$580 million market cap, and then came down to about $80 million very quickly.
I'll give them credit that at least they didn't use pump fund.
At least
Probably would have been better if he did.
It probably would have been. Instead, this was just like old school. He took it back to the roots of rug pulls.
Yeah.
All of the comments were just like pictures of him, shaking hands with Hayden, and dancing with Malay, and all that kind of stuff. Just other famous rug pulls. That was just wild. Like everything about it was awful. Like launch it in the name of New York City.
We're about to change the game.
It's a dude who is definitely not well regarded by most people.
Anyone?
As being an above board individual, and then and then just like rug it immediately. Crazy.
It was 30 minutes. Alex,
There it is.
according to the blockchain scanner.
30 minutes.
Like he didn't try.
He was trying to set a record there, it seemed like, and I can't tell. Just to confirm, it looks like based on the token account that it's an SPL token on the Solana network, so not a pump.fun token, but definitely he was in the trenches. Who knows how much of that?
Black XXOR in the comments over here says he's hawked to a level. I would have to push back just to say that at least she did a Twitter space and tried to pretend it wasn't all nonsense. He just launched rug, gone. And don't come for me. No Twitter spaces.
Also, and, rude of him to at least not let us talk to him in a Twitter space. But I will say, at least talk to a girl. I think she had no idea what was going on. There was a team of people that had her and just used her platform to then do this. And Eric Adams, though, 1,000% did this 100% on purpose, from Genesis to Book of Revelation, like all the way to the end.
Yeah. So anyway, things are going great. And then in other news, a page has been here. Let me.
I see what you did there.
Other nudes. Are we about to get a nude?
Are we about to get banned from the air?
About to see Alex with his shirt off and then in some tiny shorts.
The tiniest shorts.
The tiniest of shorts.
Yeah,
Hold
the
on,
Rise Up calendar coming to a wall near you, a cubicle near you.
It just has one picture.
Hey, all creators are making a lot of money nowadays.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
Hold on. Crap. Okay, I'll just summarize it for you. We don't need to put it on the screen. I was going to show you a page from an amendment submitted for clarity. And the bad news is that it seems like the banking lobby is currently winning, because the submitted amendment does add specific language to prohibit the paying of rewards from issuers and platforms just for simply holding a balance, meaning that the only way that they could pay a reward to a user is to tie it to an activity, such as staking, which doesn't exist for most stuff, and then something like a specific number of transactions, so like maintaining a certain level of account activity. So just another example of the United States of America well on its way to becoming the crypto capital of the world. Footnote: for gigantic, super large, mega rich corporations who can afford to lobby Congress specifically. Not you, you silly goose, you get nothing.
So again, the first part of that was you cannot earn interest at all for any crypto unless it is doing something.
No, unless you're doing something.
Yeah, you're doing something. So
Yeah, but not
actively
simply holding a
voting.
balance.
So like actively being a voting participant in staking or just staking? I think.
Well, see, that's a great question because 9 times out of 10 when we say staking, we don't mean anything except for pretending to like lock up a balance somewhere ceremoniously for something. There's no clarification there. Further proof that the people writing this shit have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, well, like the big banks want to make money through their staking ETFs, and those people aren't going to be voting. So like that's totally going to get slept through just from a money making standpoint. But that is would have
no, because you're the holder, you're removed from that. The equation there is the company, the ETP custodian would be the one earning the rewards and, you know, paying a dividend out to it. That's fine. We're fine with that. But we got a small whiff that individual users were like knocking on the threshold of like earning passive yield on an asset without having it routed necessarily through 17 middle corporations first. And that's a big no-no.
So let's say that gets passed. That would have a very interesting impact in liquidity in all of the entire altcoin space, because you would see a severe centralization away from any coin that you can't possibly earn interest on through staking. So a lot of proof of work coins, sorry, Caspa, you're going to see a lot of liquidity leave that. And just to simplify things, you probably have a lot of money go directly just through the ETF products as opposed to people buying spot. Although I think in that scenario, you could still take your crypto and go and stake and be fine because you're earning.
Yeah.
But like still.
Well, and to be clear too, there's already loopholes and problems with this. Like one thing that I've noticed that's very interesting is if you look at the way that amendments are being written right now, they're not being written the same way that things were written like legislatively before. They're like pretty simple and vague. And that's a problem because vague legislation leads to exploitation. And yeah. So either your two options are either it's being done deliberately to facilitate exploitation by someone and just, you know, cause for concern for someone who doesn't know enough or doesn't have the options available to them, or it's all being written by morons. Or, as the little girl from that one tortilla commercial says, ¿por qué no los dos?
Nice.
Why not?
Cool. Well, let's see. I know Coinbase had made a comment recently, but I had no idea, where it was like, we're going to remove our support from this bill unless certain things change. And I don't know what those certain things were. And Alex, you seem like you're paying attention to it.
Really?
Yes. We talked about this on Trust Issues last week, and we'll cover it again tomorrow. So what's really interesting about Coinbase's position on all of this is that they seem to be arguing with themselves, and it's very interesting. So honestly, you can look at just one single tweet. There's a tweet that went out, I think, on the 26th of December from Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, who said that Genius was a red line for them. No reopening it. They will fight with everything they have to prevent that from happening. This is it. Don't touch it. That was in response to the banking lobby working with Congress, notably with Senator Elizabeth Warren, who famously loves banks, to get this kind of provision passed that would prevent rewards from being paid out by third-party platforms. Because right now the loophole in Genius, because again it was written by donkeys, is so gigantic. So the stablecoin issuer themselves cannot pay the rewards out. But if rewards are routed through a third-party platform, it's fine, which is how Circle and Coinbase are facilitating this whole thing. So on one side, you would see like, okay, if Circle is the issuer, Coinbase is paying the reward for the profit share with Circle, then okay, cool. But, you know, start futzing with that and we're going to start to have problems because that's a massive source of revenue for Coinbase, the company. What's really interesting too is that in Genius, there is no wording that I can find that prohibits the third-party platform paying the rewards from being owned by the stablecoin issuer. So an issuer can just spin up a little subsidiary, call it a third-party company, pay out the reward from themselves, and reap all of those benefits and siphon money out of the equation that way, which is another great way for them to make money off of this whole equation, and pay it out, and there's nothing to stop them from doing that, which is insane. So that's what I mean by like writing things vaguely. We literally didn't include the language in this bill to prevent shell company money laundering. Like,
Interesting.
Yeah, because money.
Yeah, so right now it's very interesting to watch how this goes, because on one hand, Coinbase is incentivized to prevent that from going through. On the other hand, Coinbase is a gigantic company and they stand to benefit from the issuance of stablecoins and making money off of it that way, and by being able to earn money on seigniorage and the arbitrage of keeping a stablecoin peg and all that kind of stuff. So Brian saying that like this genius reopening is a red line for him, but also fighting for rewards and lauding China for paying now native yield to holders of the digital yuan is very interesting, because those two things do not go together. So he's contradicting himself in one tweet right there, and genuinely I'm stumped. I've got nothing. I wish I had like an insight for you there, but I can't figure that one out. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think he's like trying to play both sides of the aisle here, but it's kind of hard to tell.
Well, hey, DeFi is a beautiful thing, and if this gets passed, it'll shake up the altcoin space for sure a little bit.
No take back, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Until next session when they try to strike the bill down or whatever. Yeah. Speaking of DeFi, Eric, one of the things that we brought you here to talk about today is something you've been exploring and experimenting with lately, which is DeFi without a wallet. Something we've been teaching people on the show in a several-part series is how to start connecting your wallet to different protocols, how to do things with your crypto tokens. But a lot of people find that approach intimidating. They find it like a big leap to have a seed phrase. They find it a big leap to be sending and receiving tokens, especially to all these different networks. And there are a lot of pitfalls, a lot of obstacles, a lot of bad actors out there who want to take folks' money. So I didn't give you a chance to do this, but for folks who are new to you through our show, maybe you could share a little more generally about your platform, how you help people understand their money, and then take the conversation to DeFi beyond the wallet. I would love to hear it.
Sure. Yeah, fantastic. So a quick little introduction about myself for those that don't know who are also viewing here. Hello, my name is Eric Tan, aka Ericnomics on all social. I teach personal finance, everything underneath the sun on personal finance. We're talking about savings, credit cards, whatever, et cetera, and stuff like that too. But I do lean a little bit more heavily on how to deploy your capital. So investing side, equities, real estate, crypto, you name it. I've been working professionally in the space for 9 years. I say a decade because it sounds a little bit more fancy. So I've been at asset managers, fintechs, and most recently, I wouldn't say recently, it's been several years, but worked in the Web3 space, most notably Anchorage Digital, the qualified custodian, and my most recent former employer that is going IPO, BitGo, that if you actually go on Robinhood, you can actually request some shares as of right now. Valuations looking right underneath shy of $2 billion. So you could say that I have a little bit of experience between TradFi and DeFi side. So what I'm here to talk about today is exactly the thing you had mentioned, the pain points of how does a normal person, a normie, you could say, a person like your dad or your mom who's
like me,
knows how to use a phone, or maybe many of the viewers over here too, get access to crypto without all the complications to that. Now, because obviously there's a lot of pain points to that. There's seed phrases, wallet management, bridges, on-ramps, off-ramps. All of this stuff is super complicated if you don't know anything about crypto, which is why I joined as a strategic advisor for this company called Nook. Now, for the people who have been following me, you might have seen me talk about this app called Nook for a little while. But anyways, for the people who hasn't, Nook is basically trying to solve all of that. Basically, it's an app that allows everyday normal people or even crypto native people to deposit their fiat, meaning their US dollars, to be able to access what DeFi has to offer. We all know that DeFi is a huge spectrum. You get quadruple digit returns, sometimes like 1,000+ returns, but obviously super risky. You get the impermanent loss, you get the bad debts, you get low liquidity, things like that, right? But we also know we have the other side of the spectrum where there's safe, low risk protocols out there that gives you high single digits, even low double digit returns for relatively low risk as well too. That's what we're trying to achieve. Low risk, but modest-ish returns. But in order to get that, you have to be crypto native. So what Nook is trying to do is essentially you could deposit your fiat and be able to access these opportunities right over here on this spectrum. So I'll break it down of what happens. You create an account, you deposit fiat by a number of ways. You could do a bank wire, ACH, Apple Pay, debit card, on-ramp via Coinbase, or even send USDC for the crypto native people. It converts your USD to USDC, and it deploys your USDC to one of 6 liquidity pools or vaults on the back end. And these 6 pools or vaults are all battle-tested, blue chip pools giving high single-digit returns to low double-digit returns. Some of these pools, for the crypto native people out there, may be familiar with them. We're talking about Aave, the most battle-tested protocol out there with, I think it was $56 billion in AUM, right?
Yeah.
The most battle-tested and reputable one. Morpho, Spark, Gauntlet, which is a risk curator, things like that. So the most reputable protocols and companies out there to be able to get you an average of 7.6% APY over the last 1 year. Of course, rates do fluctuate from pool to pool, which is why Nook will also automatically rebalance your funds. Let's just say, for example, you're in the Aave pool, and at that time, it was the highest, giving you let's just say 8%. All of a sudden, Aave drops down to 5. What it does is Nook will look amongst one of their 6 other pools and see which pool is the highest and rebalance your funds to the highest pool automatically. So no need to continuously monitor or anything like that too. What Nook is essentially doing is finding you the best, lowest risk opportunity out there and making the most out of your money work for you there. I first was a user. So backtracking, I was essentially doing this manually on my own. I was going on Morpho, trying to find the best pool. Next day I log in, ooh, dang, my yields have dropped. Where can I find the best opportunity? Look on Aave, rebalance over there. I was doing it manually. Then I found the app and I was like, oh, cool. This was what I was doing on the back end, but it does it automatically for me, right? So I started using it. I loved it. And then we discussed about a partnership, and then I became a strategic advisor, and now here I am.
Yeah. The first thing that it kind of makes me think of is like Acorns, but the DeFi version. I get, obviously some different methodologies here, but basically the idea, because I would imagine there's like some sort of recurring deposit option. Like Acorns, I think you could roundup connected debit card and roundup transactions, and it would all go into some sort of one of 3 risk profile baskets. I think but all just stock market stuff. And then you can kind of pick and choose. So this is like that on the DeFi side, effectively, is what I'm getting.
I would say even more so on steroids as well too, because I forgot to also mention some of the best parts as well too. Interest is paid out live every 16 seconds. So if you're crazy enough, you could open up the app and actually watch your interest grow like a fractions of a penny if you're nuts enough to do that. And then also, there's no lockups or you could withdraw at any time. There's no lockups or anything like that as well too. So you could put it in for like 1 minute and take it back out, if you really wanted to. So you could send it on USDC via Base. So it's fully liquid, but if you actually use TradFi rails, meaning you withdraw it back to your bank, account, that might take like a day or 2, but that's normal for every transfer.
So that was my question. So when you hold a balance there, it's in USDC. So do you have the option to withdraw it to a wallet from?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
You could withdraw to any external wallet, and also even any other the off ramps as well too. So your connected bank accounts and things like that as well too.
Can you sign up and then deposit USDC specifically to it, or does it have to go through a TradFi rail first?
Yep. So both actually. So it's catered towards both normies as well as crypto native people. So you could send USDC if you're a crypto native, or if you don't know how to use a external wallet or anything like that, there are TradFi rails like the bank accounts and things like that.
What are the on ramps for like the more TradFi stuff? Is it and what does it cost? Because I'm thinking about a lot of crypto people have a hard time buying crypto. They start doing it in their wallets or whatever, and they use a third party provider like MoonPay, and often the fees are just rough. Like,
Yeah.
So what are the fees like?
0. It's free.
All around, but like there's no spread.
No spread.
There's got to be a spread. There's no spread.
So they use Bridge, which is a company under Plaid or Stripe. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Essentially, they are on ramp. Stripe. Yeah, exactly. Right. So there's not that I recall. There's no spread either.
And they must use Privy wallets. Forgive me if you said this in the background. Then, yeah,
they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So you guys are familiar with that as well, too.
Yeah, dude. The Stripe Bridge Privy stack, in my mind, is like the jab hook of TradFi to enter into crypto.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, I think, is going to be what, for lack of better words, bridges the gap between like the TradFi and DeFi rails. So it's fantastic.
Can you articulate it? And
Can you
just,
guys
like, paint
explain
the
that?
picture?
Because I don't exactly know myself.
Yeah, you go, Eric, or I'm happy to take it.
Sure. So Privy is a third-party company that essentially is a wallet / key management as well too. So they provide the infrastructure. So a lot of the companies that they use do basically like multi-sig type of infrastructure. So you still hold your private keys, but it's like a N of M type of thing as well too. So Nook might have one shard, you will have another shard, and Privy has like another shard as well too. So it just seamlessly connects it all on the back end as well too. So that's Privy. So that's the wallet management part. Bridge, you mentioned, is a Stripe company. They essentially do bridges, essentially making from like the TradFi to the DeFi side, making it easy for on-ramps and off-ramps.
Okay. And so together, all three of them, because Stripe, is a payment provider. Stripe's got like the distribution and the app on the front end that your mom is going to trust, that your bank is going to use, that the coffee shop down the corner takes credit card payments for.
Yep.
And then Bridge is going to make it so that in the background, some DeFi kind of magic happens. And now all of a sudden, like you always say, Will, instead of having to pay 1% to 3% every time they do a credit card payment, they can start using crypto without a wallet experience to accept payments more cheaply, instantly,
that's
whatever.
So much better.
Like
that's,
done for you. Yeah.
That's the thing. The only way we onboard people is you take the whole wallet experience and just push that all into the background. Everything that is blockchain, just push into the background if you want to like onboard as many people as possible, and then set them up in a position to like then take that audience as they're one step closer, be like, oh, by the way, there's also this entire world of DeFi you could walk into, and like your own personal find. Like that's the biggest thing. I've been waiting for more and more people to kind of start coming out with that stuff. I know they've been working on it, but no, that's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, and Privy, like they're set up to work with just about anybody. And so when we talk about the everything app or the everything infrastructure, I think Privy and the Privy-Bridge-Stripe stack is, for my money, the absolute best tool that TradFi has to disrupt pretty much every startup working right now. And I do want to acknowledge this comment that says, okay, so this just seems like a centralized AMM protocol from Transmutationist. And I would say if you're somebody who, like, it's kind of like a mall where you go to the mall to experience a couple of stores, a couple of restaurants, a couple of things that you really like, enough variety to feel like you went somewhere. It's not as much variety as getting the keys to your own car, an open subscription to Google Maps, and an unlimited gas stipend to go see anything in the world. That's DeFi. It's a spectrum.
Okay. I was gonna say, just to be totally clear, this is a centralized a more centralized option. That's kind of what Eric's talking about. You have this, you have a spectrum of things ranging all the way down to like fully manual management with you and your own wallet and your own keys on various protocols doing whatever, or you can add some intermediaries. And in general, I'm against uninformed intermediary use, meaning that like when you're not sure who's doing what and who's got their hands in your money and you're just kind of there because it's your only option. Big fan of informed choice. So you do need to be aware that is what's happening here. And it's similar. There's a couple comments I'll kind of wrap up all in one little batch answer. There's a couple of protocols where this is super similar. in different kind of degrees. Genuinely, DeFi Carrot, they're doing the same thing. You deposit USDC, they roll it into CRT, and then they manage on the back end a whole bunch of different assets that generate the yield, which then goes into CRT, which is then how you get paid your rewards. Transmutationist asked about Camino. There are options over on Camino that do something similar. There's a whole bunch. One thing that's worth noting, I saw a bunch of comments about it. Like Eric said, no fees, no spread, no whatever. That's right now. I would imagine that this is just like any new DeFi protocol launching. It's an incentive to get people in there. The most reasonable choice for them to, because right now they're not making any money. They're not making anything, which obviously is not sustainable and will change. And then I would imagine
that was my question.
It'll probably go into a spread later because that's the most sensible way that they be able to earn money.
Yeah, I was trying to wonder. I was like, how are they making money? What's happening here? It's either an incentive system or something really weird is happening here because I don't see a money making opportunity. Okay. But
it's just like a DeFi protocol launching with an enhanced APY in the beginning because they have a big treasure trove of like incentive money and they're paying out to early users and adopters. The exact same thing is happening here.
Well, I want to clarify. So the rates are always going to be fluctuating. That's depending on the borrowers and demand and all that stuff as well too. Yeah. That's on the back ends for like whichever pool is being deployed and such like that too. Now, however, there are probably going to be some other agreements in the future about some rev shares and things like that as well too. So there's no fee for the user at all or anything like that too. And however, of course, commercial plans are always going to be up in the air depending on what kind of partnerships and things that happen. But as of right now, there's no plans to charge any fees. Now, however, I'm not on the BD side or the person making the calls on that side. My role is strictly on the advisory side and growth. So I won't be able to speak on that specifically. But as for the foreseeable future, there are no fees.
So actually, that's a question I had, Eric, is how did you get this company to take you seriously, to know that you had value to give? What was your process? I always love walking through this with people to get their attention and show them you had some value to offer as an advisor, because I find that a lot of crypto native companies are very opinionated about doing things kind of a, super DeFi heavy way. And a lot of TradFi companies are very opinionated about, particular about who they work with. And it can be really difficult to talk to anybody about essentially like consumer or product advocacy. So what was that like for you?
Yeah, great question. So one, I was sold on it. I was a genuine user that actually genuinely loved the product and I believed in the vision. It started as a small product and app, but the vision is grand and huge. So what I, as a person, had to offer was I had an audience. I had experience building up an audience and a personal brand and things like that as well too. And guess who their target audience is? Normies, right? I'm talking about personal finance, teaching people how to be better with their money, how to earn more money, things like that too. So what better way to grow your user base than to tap into someone who has a personal brand on this specific topic as well too. And now we're also seeing a generation of companies developing a social media presence / following as well too. We're in a day and age where you can't just give educational value or just like the old types of marketing just simply doesn't work anymore, right? You can't just put up an ad, throw some ad money in there as well too. That sense of trust is not quite there. But when you partner up with someone who has that reputation, who has that presence and that audience, your voices are going to be amplified. That's the whole reason why anyone would want to partner up with a creator in the first place. That's why influencer marketing is a huge industry, because you're tapping into their audience, their reputation, their name, image, likeness, and everything like that as well.
So the CEO is quoted as saying, once we make the connection and continue to build up the community, we see several revenue options down the road. There's a bunch of what I would call standards. You'd get to that point, right? Like there's the spread, there's some sort of a transaction fee, there's some sort of a subscription. I think one thing, I don't know, if I were to speculate a little bit, I bet you see a card.
Oh.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
We are starting to see that because, for example,
spend out of the account, pay a fee.
Yeah, exactly.
EtherFi dropped a card as well too, 3%, pretty good. I know there's a lot of others as well too.
A lot of cards.
Could be an option.
Yeah. I mean, that's really the next frontier here from like a, DeFi platform usability. It's the ability to spend against a bunch of assets that you have. I mean, the ultimate secret to how, the ludicrously wealthy stay ludicrously wealthy without ever having to give up any of your stuff. Most famous example would be Elon buying Twitter without spending a penny, even though he bought it for $40 billion.
Yeah.
That's kind extreme example. We got a few minutes before we're all, centy billionaires, but, bear with me. Would be the idea of spending against a balance that you have while that balance is continuing to do work somewhere else, like borrowing against a stock portfolio where the stock is continuing to appreciate. In theory, you should be able to do the same thing with your DeFi assets without having to sell them, thus incurring, taxable events. So the shitty part about that is that obviously that would be really good for us, which means it's probably not on anyone's horizon right now.
Yeah, I mean, that certainly could be on the radar as well too. There's a lot of different other avenues that they're kind of exploring as well too, at no extra cost to the average consumer. So, for example, I think several of the pools on the back end are actually curated by Gauntlet, which, for those that don't know, are a risk curator of some sort. So essentially, what they do is
just friend of the show.
Yeah, we had him on not too long ago.
We love the guys at Gauntlet, guys and gals.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So they not many people also know as well too. Whenever you use their pools, they actually do take a small fee. I think it was like 10 or 15 or something like that as well too. So there could be some possible arrangements that there is some rev share splits of their fee as well too. So no extra cost to the average user. So there's going to be no compromise to the quality on that as well.
So I would love to do a quick round of all the options we have in our back pocket for folks who are interested in this kind of experience. You mentioned Alex, DeFi Carrot. We say them on the show a lot. But first, I wanted to ask Eric, I popped this in the chat. I see here, in order to create an account and try it out, I need to use my phone and scan the code and get the app. But do you happen to have like a referral code for us, or is that something I can create later? Because I will give everyone watching the show who wants to try it the opportunity to support the show if it's something you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you guys create your accounts, feel free to also, put your own referral code or anything like that as well too. But if anyone wants to download the app and try it out, I do have it linked in my bio as well too. If you use my code or anybody else's code, you get an also additional 1% boost for 30 days up to your first $10,000 as well too. So if you are getting that 7.6%, that actually turns into 8.6%. So fantastic. There's no reason not to use it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Then I will tell you, go find Eric at Ericnomics on all platforms except, of course, for X, formerly known as Twitter, where he's _Ericnomics. If you want to try, you just can't wait, and you want to do a favor for a friend of the show. Otherwise, we will absolutely put a link on the website sometime soon. I'm talking about rumshq.com. And I'm stalling, guys, so you can have a chance to recommend your favorite DeFi adjacent, DeFi-ish, DeFi middle platforms. And the last thing I will say in this stall is if you're on the website, rumshq.com, you should also remember community.rumshq.com. It is the place the show lives 24/7. It's the best place to ask us a question, to get connected with a community of learners. And that is the number one tip. People always want to know, how do I start? How do I start investing? How do I get into crypto? What do I need to do first? You need to find another friend who uses crypto. And we have a lot of them, all ages, all experience levels from all around the world. We say it because it's true that the only thing missing is you. Avoid scams, get a second opinion, learn how to use crypto safely, confidently at community.rumshq.com. Okay, fellas, I would love to know what other apps, dApps, websites you're looking at for DeFi without the wallet. Alex, you want to go first?
Oh, without the wallet?
Without
I was thinking
the wallet, or wallet light, or hybrid.
I was going to say, is it okay
Do you
if
need me to go first? Because I can rug you.
No, I mean, I have an idea that I was thinking of. I want it to be known that I did have an answer.
Sure.
But then you said without a wallet, and you kind of rugged me. I'm just thinking about, you know, like things. Good point, Alex. Things where I'm able to participate in something that is inherently more complicated with some sort of entry barrier lowering. And the first one that I thought of, just because it's been in the comments a little bit, we've kind of talked about it, I'm exploring it right now, is Camino. Specifically because one thing where you can earn, you know, historically better rates, granted, this is riskier. So disclaimer, we're talking about an elevated risk option here that's providing liquidity. You know, because you can earn money on the fees as long as the asset that you're providing for is trading within the range you're trading for. And Camino just kind of like chops out some of the management nonsense, which I really enjoyed. Because the first way that I ever lost money in crypto was to just be like, yeah, that fee percentage looks great. I'm going to provide liquidity over here on Uniswap. And I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't manage it properly. And then I just panicked and pulled it all out and made the impermanent loss permanent. But Camino has like some pretty cool ways where you can just deposit one asset and it does all the management for you. So that would be, they would get a shout out, just because I always give the Carrot a shout out.
Yeah, of course, you're talking about DeFiCarrot.com. So DeFiCarrot.com, the perennial shout out. Camino, Kamino.com, which you will need a VPN for if you're in the United States.
Correct.
I should say that. You can look, but you can't touch it.
Everybody should be using VPNs all the time anyway.
Well, Alex, I'm here to tell you we're not.
So, well, why should people use them all the time, Alex? Because I hear that often, and I'm just like, it's just another button for me to press. I'll just go do the thing.
Yeah, it is another button, but we live in a world where we are being increasingly more and more heavily surveilled by people that you perhaps do not want to know everything about you at the push of a button. Your privacy is being eroded every single day, and it's not perfect. It does not protect against everything. There are things that VPNs do not prevent, but they can at least make it a little bit harder for everyone who knows that you exist to get all of your information from you. So I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
I love this comment from Black who says, "Here comes Alex Jones, LOL."
My answer to your question, Evan, is like what I'm looking at to use that takes wallets and pushes them in the background. There isn't like one particular piece of DeFi because, like, you know, I use things that I'm familiar with. I go use Morpho. I'm starting to dive more into DeFi Carrot and all that kind of stuff, particularly as like the market gets more interesting. I'm really looking at the Turbo products like Turbo Soul on DeFi Carrot because
Turbo's fun.
It's leverage trading with minimal leverage, and you take a lot of like the work that you have to do to manage your leverage positions, just like push that to the side. So it's like I like that. That's interesting, and also like I'll play with 2x leverage. That's fine.
Eric, have you seen the Turbo product? Because it's kind of a neat little deal.
I have not.
Effectively, they've wrapped and tokenized a leveraged long position that's spread across a bunch of different protocols, and they manage the liquidation risk on the back end while you hold the wrapped tokenized position of that leverage trade. And so it allows you to have exposure to admittedly very low leverage, like between 1.5 and 4.2%, 4.2x. And I found the average to be sitting, I don't know what it's sitting at right now, but the average I've found is, it's usually about 2.5.
Interesting.
So it's kind of neat. Of course, you know, with any leverage, right? Like if it goes down, you're going to lose more aggressively. This is exclusively a long position, but according to them, they are exploring options for wrapping short positions too. So that could be a thing in the future.
And this is at turbo.deficarrot.com.
Yeah. But the last thing I want to say is like, I'm not necessarily playing with things that take wallets and kind of push them into the background exactly. But to me, the leader in that front, in terms of just like the overall umbrella, if we take people and we put them into the world of crypto without them knowing it all, although it's still very surface level, it's still Igloo, still the parent company of Pudgy Penguins. And in that sense, it's abstract. So it's like, I'm still looking right now at abstract because like you have Coinbase with Base. Yeah, they have a bunch of people. It's like the best on-ramp in the United States. You have Coinbase and Binance. Best on-ramp for people into crypto for, you know, getting spot crypto and all that, and maybe getting one more step away from getting on chain. But like Coinbase doesn't make good products. And then you even have Kraken. Kraken makes good products, but they don't market. So you're not going to get as much people. And so if you look at who in crypto has taken the most amount of like consumer level retail people. When I say retail, I'm not talking investors. I'm just like people, right? And put them on chain without them knowing, it's still Igloo. Like even like Polygon has great stats of getting people on chain with payments and stuff, but it's still very much so like an on chain kind of experience, and it's institutional and, you know, payments systems and all that kind of stuff. So like I'm still really looking at that. And Abstract, their layer 2, is supposed to have some like near mainnet updates and launches in the middle part of this year. And especially with their incredible investment in Asian markets, particularly Korea, you know, you could see like a really, and with how batshit crazy the Koreans are with crypto adoption, you know, you could see like a real big uptick. They just have to kind of nail the layer 2 side, but God knows they have enough money.
And the interest. I mean, I feel like it. I don't know why that one never gets as much attention as other stuff, but every year.
It's because it doesn't have DeFi. That's why.
Yeah,
it doesn't have TVL. You know.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, and they're cooking, so we'll give them a chance.
Yeah, we'll see. So that's what I have my eyes on in terms of like taking wallets and just throwing them in the background and getting normal everyday people online in some way, shape, or form. That's edutational, you know, educational entertainment.
And getting Lucanets eventually rescheduled and on Rise Up.
Yeah, you better get back here, you son of a bitch.
I will absolutely die on this hill.
I will hunt you down.
Okay, I've got a couple for you. We had a call recently with new friends of the show at EtherFi. I'm talking about ether.fi. Eric, are you hip to EtherFi?
Yeah, I actually used their protocol quite a bit as well too, but eventually just went back to Lido.
Sure. So mostly as an on-chain native is how you use EtherFi.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so they've got a suite of products in their app, which is at ether.fi, that will help you kind of get into crypto without needing to know a lot about crypto. Inside the app, they have got vaults. They have got a program they call Earn that's basically like assisted self-custody, click and earn. They've got cards you can sign up for. Their website's taking a second to load for, so that you can spend your crypto or you can spend your cash as you would spend crypto. And then they're always doing little promotions and stuff. And I think that's where they're really killing it right now. The reason I'm interested in what they're doing is I feel like they've got a really good consumer adoption strategy where they take them sort of from product to product to product, educate them along the way. And even if you're a crypto native, you can like this. I went to DeFi Llama the other day because I was trying to find for somebody what's the best place to stake my ETH and earn yield right now. Of course, Lido was at the top of my list, but I was just looking at the APYs over time, and it looks like EtherFi is using some incentives to kind of like juice theirs right now. And they're a legitimate staking provider. And when you're looking at the top there, you're really only choosing between a handful of companies who have the brand, the reputation, the trust, the infrastructure to justify staking with, in my opinion, if you're looking to amplify your risk and you're looking at who's got the best APY, and EtherFi is one of them. And they were like 2% higher than anybody else. And I was like, okay, guys, that's pretty cool. So EtherFi is one. I also want to shout out Reserve.org. This is somebody that we have never had on the show, but that I got the chance to meet at Permissionless. And they had just wonderful branding oriented towards helping crypto people, like crypto natives, to share with non-crypto people the benefits of earning yield on crypto products. Like DeFi Carrot, they've basically got these tokenized baskets. They're kind of like indexes, index strategies. They're doing something underneath. You can buy one token or like click to buy one product the way you might in Nook or in Acorns or Webull or whatever, and start earning through exposure to crypto. And then the last one I got to give out is friend of the show, Glider. This is at glider.fi. This is what the dashboard of their app looks like. Are you hip to Glider?
The co-founder was an old colleague and a personal friend of mine.
You talking about Brian?
Yeah.
Another friend of the show. We love him.
Very cool.
He is. We worked together at Anchorage.
No way. Okay,
No
okay,
way.
great.
That's cool as hell.
He was on in May before they were really cooking here. Now they're in beta, and I will say they've got some really cool tools that I'd like to play with more. If you're a crypto native, you can create your own kind of portfolio around which kind of assets and make rules for them about if this happens, then sell, then buy, then change, then swap. You can get really particular and specific. And I just think this thing is so new. Like, I'm really excited for people to create killer strategies and then for them through social discovery to become popular. Because that's the other cool part of this is there's like done for you strategies that you can explore and discover, but you can also explore and discover other people's strategies based on what's trending right now. So imagine a future where, I don't know, the Warren Buffett of crypto meme coins starts building little portfolio baskets on Glider, and you can copy trade somebody without needing to build some kind of robust bot. You can see what your friends are doing and share strategies with each other that way and make it really like fun, but also easy. So shout out Glider.
It's super cool. Like, honestly, like your imagination is like the limit over here. Like, you can have some wild ideas and make that into life as well too, which is super cool because also like public.com, like the stock brokerage, they also recently released something similar as well too. It's kind of like an LLM type of thing, like, oh, build me a portfolio with only X, Y, and Z and stuff like that as well too. And Glider really reminded me of something like that as well too. So giving control back to the actual user on essentially anything you want to do. So it's super cool.
I think I saw that you did a video on that explaining the product. Is that right? On the
I
public
did,
product?
yes.
Recently?
Yep. Exactly. It's like kind of like talking to ChatGPT. Like, build me a ETF portfolio with semiconductor companies that only did 10% revenue year over year with X amount of gross margins, and then it builds a whole portfolio with you too. So it's super cool.
Yeah, it looked really cool. I've got the screen share up for people in podcast land where Eric walks through it. This is like 6 videos back on your Instagram profile over at Ericnomics. I thought it was a really helpful video, and it does. Do you think more apps are going to have this kind of GPT assisted experience soon? Robinhood's probably going to have it. Fidelity, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I think Robinhood is actually working on something called Gore-Tex, which is something similar as well too. So it's like a natural language model type of investing assistant type of thing.
Okay. Yeah. I expect to see more and more of that. Okay. Good deal. DeFi beyond the wallet, and tomorrow we're coming back to DeFi in the wallet. If you were here last week, you saw the first part of our Jito tutorial series, How to DeFi in 4 parts featuring Jito. And we are coming back to do a second part. I rugged Alex last week. I said, Alex, we've got to go. The show's over. You got to stop, man. You're gonna give away all the goods. We're gonna have a lot more for you beyond just staking your soul. Liquid staking your soul was last week. We showed you everything you needed. And now we're going to start looking at the strategies to come. So let me ask you this, Alex. For people who want a little teaser, what can they look forward to tomorrow?
Camino. Yeah. We're going to talk about just places that you can take the liquid staking token and do stuff with it. And there's a bunch of options. So first, we can look at a couple of the ones that are right on Jito that are easy. And then Camino. Just because the liquidity providing thing for someone who wants to like toe dip into that idea and be able to like watch a position get managed, that's my favorite. Actually, I shouldn't say my favorite. It's the only one that I'm currently aware of that manages liquidity positions for you like that. But if there are others, then please let me know, because I'd like to look at them too.
We covered it in an office hours. And for people who missed the tutorial, who want to get caught up, the place to go is youtube.com/@the-rise-up-morning-show, or just search the Rise Up Morning Show Jito, and you will see the tutorial excerpted from that episode in its fullness, in its glory. Shout out to T Mighty and all of the Rums Clippers for getting this up. It's easy to stop, play it, do something over on Jito, come back, pause it, play it again, so that wherever you are, whenever you listen, you too can learn how to DeFi. Come back for that. And then come back next week, the 21st on Wednesday. We're going to have Dr. Allman on the show. Yeah?
Yes.
And talk a little about Jito governance. So it's like you're going deep on this thing if you stick around with us every Wednesday in January.
Well, and not just Jito's governance. We'll talk about that because that's where he designed the governance system at, but I kind of wanted to get a little bit more big picture because I think that governance in DeFi is super important, and right now it's very worth being aware that pretty much every DeFi protocol that exists is VC backed, and those venture capitalists own a tremendous amount of the governance supply. So, for example, basically A16Z owns the governance for every DeFi protocol if they want to. Uniswap, Camino, Jito, they're all VC funded, and so it's really worth paying attention and knowing, because the only way that any of that like isn't bad or worrisome is if more individuals get interested in governance and opt into it and participate. And so we're going to talk about like I don't want to get like super into the weeds with it because honestly it's really dry, but just like where to go to read a proposal, how to read a proposal, and then whether or not you should be voting and stuff. And I find all that to be really interesting. And I can't remember if I told you this, but fun fact, Nick Almond and I connected like over a year and a half ago, and I didn't realize it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he made a comment about, on Twitter, he made a comment about, can you imagine a world wherein volunteering is profitable? And I said that I think if more people volunteered, it would become profitable by itself. And that was the beginning of what would turn out to be rather serendipitous reconverging of minds here on the show. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Nick Almond just sounds like a fake name to me. Like something you give at a hotel when you're with your mistress.
As a
Nick
PhD
Almond.
in physics.
I'll believe it when I see it. Don't
I'll
trust
tell him
verify.
to bring his degree.
Nick Almond, if that even is your real name. We're excited to host him. Okay, let me ask you, Eric, is there anything that we didn't address with Nook specifically that we should know, or your thoughts on DeFi beyond the wallet before we pivot? Because I know Will's got a hard stop and he has something he wants to cover, the Supreme Court.
No, I think covered it all.
Beautiful. And I saw in the private chat you're working on a link for us, so we will have that for you soon if you want to try Nook. And I'll make sure I have links for all these other things that we mentioned too over at rumshq.com. Will, what's going on with the Supreme Court? Like, we getting a ruling one way or the other on these tariffs?
Maybe. So the Supreme Court, there were a lot of people who were speculating, and I saw that speculation, and I thought it was like a damn near guarantee that the Supreme Court was going to make a ruling tomorrow on whether or not Trump's tariffs are legal or illegal. But there's not like an opinion day scheduled that day. An opinion day is when the Supreme Court releases opinions and their thoughts on decisions. But it could happen any day. It could literally happen any day. There's no specific day. The Supreme Court could just be like, now we feel like ruling on it, which means I'm sure that day will not be strategically chosen to benefit insiders. But,
No.
So just like any day at any point in time, the Supreme Court would just be like, they're illegal. And then just like walk away. And everyone's like, what? Oh, shit. If you're a betting man, I feel like most of us men and ladies here are in the crypto space. Polymarket still says there's only a 27% chance the Supreme Court says that the wide sweeping tariffs are legal, but we'll see. So just be aware, like it's not necessarily tomorrow's the day. It could literally be any day. And some people aren't saying they're going to make a ruling until like March or June or July. But we'll see. The other thing too is we got CPI inflation data came in about a half hour ago. And CPI inflation came in pretty nice. It came in cooling. So headline CPI came in at growing at 0.3%, which was in line with expectations. Also, year over year, inflation came in at 2.7%, which was in line with expectations. And then core CPI, which for those of you who don't know, that is the measurement of the cost of goods minus the rise of food and energy because they are very volatile. Those came in below expectations at 0.2% month over month as compared to expectations of 0.3%. And core CPI year over year came in at 2.6%, below the expectations at 2.7%. So it's like overall generally good news. So that's nice. Thumbs up.
It's interesting to watch the divergence of economic data because, then you also have like revisions weakening the job market even more. At the same time that you're kind of I think this is where that like confusion comes from because it definitely pisses me off as someone with like a more surface level understanding of all this kind of stuff just to like hear that like, hey, this data is good, and it's like, yeah, well, shit still sucks. I don't know. It's just it's interesting because I feel like this has been kind of the way that it's been for years.
It's a long, long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
A galaxy far, far away, where the money was free and the people were too. Take
Allegedly.
me back.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay.
Well, right now, like still bad jobs data and cooling inflation data is what you want to see from an asset standpoint, because it opens up the door for the Fed to cut rates more.
Yeah, for everyone except the people who are the reason the jobs data is falling.
Yeah, but the thing is like long term, it's good for the jobs data to then rebound. Like this is how you get the jobs data to rebound. It's just that we're working on a period of like 9 months to 2.5 years for this stuff to really make an impact.
Saying inside the data set, it's individuals making up falling job numbers, and that is no one in that position really gives a shit about asset prices for shit they don't have and can't afford. And that's my point about where the divergence comes from.
Yeah. Eric, do you have any takes on the macro picture right now? And generally, as we enter 2026, something we've been asking all our guests is how they feel about the year that was, how they're feeling about the year that's coming, that we're already finding ourselves in.
Yeah, so Will just hit it right on the point as well, too. We're seeing softening jobs data, which does give a little bit more of a clear kind of like green light for the Fed to start sort of lowering some interest rates, especially with external pressures from the Fed. I mean, not the Fed, DOJ opening an investigation on him, and then Trump's pressure to continue lower rates. So it's good to see that at least the CPI data is starting to cool off a little bit, because now we're having a lot more green lights to go lower. So I mean, I'm all for it. Obviously, lower rates push into risk assets like crypto, and I'm trying to pump my bags. I'm kidding.
Yeah, but seriously, also.
I mean, to be fair, like I will lament, the falling jobs numbers as being bad for the people who it directly affects, of course. But the answer there is that, recognize that no one's coming to save you, and there are tools that you can use to help yourself. And that's that's the whole point. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, exactly. There are ways to help yourself as opposed to just waiting for the economy to rebound after rate cuts after 2 years of maybe being unemployed. Yeah.
To hell with the economy. Fan of this. Make your own economy. Remember that South Park episode where the economy is like a living, breathing thing, like this mysterious entity, and Kyle sacrifices himself for everyone's credit card debt by opening a gigantic position with his American Express card and buying everyone's debt.
Yeah. Sacrificial lamb of debt.
Then,
no,
yes,
I hear that's a
exactly.
great episode, though.
It's such a good episode.
It's such a good one.
CJ Witten says in the comments, William, you'd have all the ladies fainting talking about, come save me, William. And probably some of the hosts of this show, too.
That's in response to someone asking if Will is a firefighter. And the answer is no, he's a consultant.
No. I am a consultant sales rep.
No, but on the Rise Up calendar,
being a firefighter would have been dope. That's the public service job I totally would have gone into. My grandfather was a fire chief.
William would be on January, front page of the calendar.
No, Will would be on all 12 months.
Well, guys, I'm building out this is real. I'm building out my male modeling portfolio and catalog, and I'm in talks with one of the agencies here in Boston. So, you know what? Maybe there will be a calendar.
You should.
You know what? I will
hope.
support that, and I will be your number one customer or your first customer.
Hell yeah!
You'll too late. If I don't get issue number 1 of that calendar, I'm gonna have a real fit.
Well, we'll see. Issue
on my wall. How weird would it be if you had your own calendar up on your own wall right next to your katana swords?
It would be funny, particularly because, which one's this one? Dude, my friends and I, we have a long-standing tradition of during White Elephants and also just during random gifts, we'll just walk up to each other in public settings, and we'll give each other just the craziest calendars. And this one's Gladiator. So my brother was in Italy, and so he got Roman gladiator male calendar, and we'll just like walk up and be like, oh dude, I got you your favorite, just dudes and like dudes in armor, man. And like we'll just like flip through it in like a very public setting, and then we always act like super excited. Oh dude, I always wanted Mr. February, and like we just go there and people are like, what the hell is going on? And then all of our girlfriends are like, oh, that's a lie, they don't love us, they're gay for each other, we knew it. we knew it.
Just for gladiators.
Yeah,
CCG
I got
says,
my buddy Alp, who's like his family's like a very conservative Muslim. I walked up and like went in front of his like mom and dad. I was like, dude, it's exactly what you want. And he was like, no. And his mom just started dying. Suzanne, he just started dying. It was hilarious.
CCG says, we need an affiliate link for the calendar.
It's the perfect time to buy.
Okay, well, I know you got to ride your dog and pony out of here in just a second. So do you have a final thought for us aside from buy the calendar, support his modeling career?
Yeah, and buy the calendar. Just buy the calendar, guys. Maybe we'll have to make it at some point. It'll just be like me being like a sexy dolphin in like different positions.
Oh, really? You don't bring that back. I love the dolphin.
The dolphin costume. It's under my bed. It's always ready. It's maybe it should make some more appearances. It really should. Alex loves it. Alex misses it.
I fucking loved it.
Every day.
Just with I love how you said that so deadpan. I fucking loved it.
He's telling me the truth.
He's telling the truth. That was truth right there. Will can be a merman. Yeah, that's right. Oh, I don't want to go do my job. Okay, I gotta go be a supply chain consultant now. Everybody,
Quit.
Well, we gotta make some more money.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's your friend and mine. Please give it up for Mr. Will Watson.
Every single time I'm so close to clicking the end stream button, my mouse goes right towards it and I go, no, Will, not again.
Don't rug me.
All right, see you, everybody.
I will. Okay, and if you've got a question, a suggestion, a good joke, a word of wisdom, a suggestion for the Rise Up calendar or something else before we get ready to ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset, then let us know. We got about 20 minutes left of this edition of the Rise Up Morning Show. Eric, I really appreciate you for being here. And one of the things that we like to ask guests, we've kind of already talked about this with DeFi, and it's not quite a crypto question, but I want to return to predictions. Do you see anything on the horizon? Is there anything that you're working on that you're struggling with, wrestling with, or thinking is coming for us soon, so you want to get on top of it before it does as you look to the future?
I mean, my whole ethos, or the whole reason why I even started this page about financial education, is to help spread good, sensible financial education, similar to what your guys' whole ethos is, spreading good, sensible crypto education. So getting ahead of just all finances, right? We're in a weird type of economic environment. And what better way to prepare yourself than to stockpile more money and some crypto assets, right? But that's pretty much about it for me.
Man, living the dream.
Living the dream. That's right. Every single day that Bitcoin is under 92,000.
Dude, I can't even believe it. I realized I use river.com to dollar cost average into Bitcoin and automate it. They charge the lowest spreads. They have 0 fees on recurring buys and withdrawals. It's a really easy experience. I can't believe I didn't mention them when we were talking about like DeFi beyond the wallet. Their whole thing is let us custody these funds and turn them into Bitcoin for you and custody them for you and keep them secure, or make it easy for you to transfer them off our platform and not have to pay a bunch for it. They've got all these little automators, and I had this new feature turned on. It was called, I think, Supercharge, where if the price was down relative to the day before or the week before, whenever the last time you dollar cost average was, then it was like you could buy double or triple or 4 times. You could set it to a custom thing. And so I had it set up that I buy Bitcoin every day, same amount. And I had a supercharge that I turned on where I was like, oh, well, let's just buy 2 times. And if it's down more than X percent, buy 4 times kind of thing from the day before or from the week before. I had it all set up. And it drafts however much money it's going to need from your bank. It's earning like 3% in Bitcoin while it's waiting to become Bitcoin. So it's excellent. And awesome. My supercharge order caused it to like run out of money in balance on River. And instead of like overdrafting my bank account or drawing extra or whatever, it had like a thing out to me that was like, hey, your usual orders got filled early because Bitcoin's price has moved again, you know, whatever. And so we've paused your recurring buy and your bank movement until you initiate it again, which is a great feature. I missed the email and I looked back at the end of the year and I was like, this is a lower number than I would expect to see for the Bitcoin I've accumulated this month. And I realized it was because my buy had been paused. And I was like, oh no, you know, it was under 90 this whole time. And to be fair, I had made some extra allocations when it was down, buying extra on the dip. So I'm okay. But I just thought to myself, oh man, I have all these dollars that meant to become Bitcoin and now they're just dollars. It was just the worst feeling. I hated it. So I need it to stay under 90 a little bit longer and maybe even go under 80 again too so I can catch up.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you ever get the sense of like you tell yourself like every time like Bitcoin hits like a new low of like, you know, like $84,000, I was like, you know, next time it gets this low, I'm going to dump my whole life savings into it. But then when it comes around, I'm like, oh, I'm not touching that with the 10-foot pole.
No, I will say though, when I get a boon in my life, if I get extra cash, if I win the lottery, not that that's happened, I tend to, every dollar that comes into my possession, especially the dollars I didn't expect, I say, okay, Evan, argue with me now. This is going to become Bitcoin unless there's an emergency, unless there's something you really need. Like I make every dollar I get argue its value for why it shouldn't become Bitcoin, you know? Basically, at some point. I buy at every price. I just want more of it. I feel like dollars are a liability.
Yeah.
You know.
What's the spread on River? Because I actually need to get into that as well.
So if you go to river.com, you can see before you log in. Let me see if I can go there or if I'm logged in on this device, I can log out. And let me do this for you too.
Also, if you have a referral code, please send it over as well.
Yes, I do. And in fact, I will show you both of them for people who are interested. You can go over to rumshq.com. Hang on, it's coming up on the screen. I will show you exactly where to go to get this code. We have a whole host of codes, and this is where when we get the Nook code, we will put it live. If you go to rumshq.com, for people in podcast land, just follow the sultry sound of my voice. You'll click the menu in the corner. You'll go to recommended tools and deals, and then boom. You've got the sponsor partners, friends of the show, and lots of tools that we love that we are not sponsored by, but could be.
Could be.
River.com is right here. 0 fee Bitcoin auto buy and withdrawal. When you use this link, it helps the show. It will take you to river.com, and this is what the dashboard looks like here. I am double checking on what their spread is, and it looks like the spread on River right now is 0.25%, about that for sell orders. It typically falls around 0.5%. It varies a little based on market conditions, but in my experience, it's usually the cheapest place to do it, especially if you're DCAing over time.
Okay, that's really good to know because I think Coinbase charges 60 basis points, but then if you have Coinbase One, it's 25% rebate, so that goes down to 0.45 and stuff like that. But still, that sounds cheaper.
Yeah. I consistently doing it over time, and the way that the other thing in addition to a spread is I've noticed that different sellers have different update schedules for their prices, and I'm not hip enough to even speak on it, but just basically, you know, if you're buying on Coinbase or you're buying on Kraken or you're buying on River, you might notice that the price on, I don't know, CoinMarketCap or whatever is different than the price on your buying marketplace. And that's because they only update their prices so much, or the oracle they're using, or if it's ETH or something like that, the validators they're using are sending them information so often. It can be both a perk and a drawback of buying on a centralized exchange. Sometimes you beat the market, sometimes you don't. Exactly.
Pros and cons. Yeah.
Exactly.
Whereas the kids would say 6, 7.
Yeah, 6, 7. That's Alex's favorite brain rot of the year.
You know, I just fucking learned about that like 2 weeks ago.
Did you really?
How do you mute Eric? Hold on.
I'm just so old. I don't know, man.
It's awful.
Oh,
I
man,
know.
I just enjoy it. I realized probably 5 years ago that I'm not cool anymore. Have you had that realization? Eric, how old are you, man?
I'm 32.
32?
guys?
Okay. Alex just turned 35, and I'm about to, he's warming it up for me. I'm gonna round my way over there in a couple of months. And I just feel old. It's not just my back. I'm probably in the best physical shape of my life, but I do have some back pains, and I definitely am not hip to things anymore. I have to ask Google and TikTok what is trending right now. You know what I mean? Like, what a boomer thing to do.
I know that's literally me. I kid you not, I spent one whole night looking up Gen Z and Gen Alpha's slang, and I'm like questioning every single one of these things. Like, how does this make sense? But
Yeah,
that's where I'm at in my life.
I understand.
Googling.
Alex, you've been kind of quiet over there. Are you looking at something, cooking on something?
It was a question actually just about, I mean, if we want to take it back to, hold on, let me find it. Stall.
I can give you one better. Here's the rewind.
Beautiful.
And I will also give you, tell me why are we taking it back, Alex?
So the question was for Eric, and it was just about whether or not you could overview anything that you're currently doing, or what you're doing with your stuff in the crypto space specifically. Any places that you are earning any yield, or what you're holding, which chains you operate on, any of that good stuff.
Great question. Yeah. So I've done the whole gambit. So my journey started in 2017. So like any other naive little new crypto newbie, I got super attracted to all the shiny things of meme coins and NFTs and yield farming, et cetera, and et cetera. Lost a lot of money, made a lot of money, but also lost still a lot of money as well too. So what has consistently done well is just buy and hold. And I'm not talking about just like meme coins and buy and hold and stuff like that. I'm talking about blue chip stuff. So that's what I typically tend to lean towards nowadays. BTC, ETH, and SOL. Now, I still try to make my crypto work for me as well too. So ETH, I stake it all entirely. So Lido, EtherFi, and then some liquidity pools, minor ones as well too. So USDC to ETH pairs and things like that as well. So that's on the ETH side. Solana, I stake all of it as well too, both on Jito and Marinade. Funny enough, just because I also made a tutorial on Jito a little while back as well too.
Nice.
That's just like still up somewhere in the ether. So those are two. I've been kind of thinking about kind of putting my BTC to work. I haven't even touched anything in the BTC ecosystem. So talking about like Babylon and Lombard and things like that as well too.
Well, and you might not have to if you wait a little bit, because Babylon and Aave are launching Bitcoin native Bitcoin yield generation on Aave sometime in the next few months.
Pretty sweet, right?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's good to know. But yeah, like I've just personally never really touched a Bitcoin ecosystem. Like I don't know anything about it. So that's why I'm a little bit uneasy about doing it. But then again, also it's, I don't know if it's worthwhile, because like I look at the yields of that, like maybe 1%. I'm like, I don't know if I want to mess it up, and just to squeeze out 1 extra percent. It would be nice, because Bitcoin non-producing assets, to earn a little yield on that, not too bad. But as far as most of my personal crypto portfolio, it's in stablecoins earning a passive yield on Nook. So I have my own idle cash. I don't want to say like my emergency funds are in that, because obviously with anything in DeFi, FDIC won't apply here. So I still have my high yield savings account for maybe like a couple of months of emergency funds. But then I understand it. So a majority of my emergency funds are actually sitting in stable coins and Nook and high yield, earning high yields and things like that. And then for the vast majority of other things too, minor DeFi yield farming, things like that. Now, however, of course, if the crypto market picks back up, I might be a little bit more inclined to do a little bit more degen trading and stuff like that as well too. Buy a couple $100 of meme coins here, buy $50 of meme coins there, things like that as well too. Just for funsies. It's purely speculation, nothing crazy on that front. And then one last thing, I'm doing a little bit more on the prediction market side. That's also for funsies as well too. I really only play the safer ones, like, oh, what are the chances of the Fed cutting interest rates, right? Because that one's a little bit more predictable. So I just try to capture the tiny spread of like, oh, 90% staying and 10% cut. Like, we all know there's a really good chance of where the Fed is going to be heading towards. So I bet on the higher side, even though you're earning a little bit less, but that's a safe bet for me. So like last night, what is it? Gemini also recently launched their prediction market, and they were doing a campaign of like, oh, you trade X amount and then you get X amount of bonus. So I pulled some money off of Poly Market to put on to that one as well too. So that's what my personal crypto portfolio typically looks like.
That was helpful, thorough, but concise. And I also am interested to start playing in prediction markets. I have seen them, signed up for them. I just got the notice the other day that my Poly Market, I'm off the wait list. I'm in the, access pool or whatever. I need to go update it. And definitely I think still we got to use VPNs for that. But I look forward to playing around with it. And I've been watching people's strategies on just arbitraging the market in terms of there's a bet that has a super high likelihood of going through, and it's in the last 15 minutes. Will the New York Knicks win this game? And they're up 20 points. But there's still like 96% odds that they will and 4% that they won't, and things like that. Bets that are pretty much already done, where there's still a little upside to placing a bet on the majority, capturing a little. And then when they're asking about something I know before insider trading is illegal, I'm going to go all in. How many dogs does Alex, the host of the Rise Up Morning Show, have today, Tuesday, January 13th? I'm all in.
Gearing up for a congressional run there, Bubba?
Yeah, man. It's crime season, baby, and
Insider trading is legal, baby.
Yeah.
Doug on TikTok says that he is looking forward to prediction perps.
Oh my god!
And then he says, "I'm definitely not being sarcastic. I am 100% serious. I cannot wait." Yeah. Direct quote. That's crazy, Doug. That wouldn't be good at all.
Turn it up to 100, baby. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Why not?
All right. So, Eric, before we let you go, we're going to ask you for a final thought, a last question, a suggestion, a good joke, a word of wisdom. But before you give a final thought, let me say thank you very much for joining us on the show today. It's been a real pleasure having you. And tell us one more time, where can folks find you? If you have a call to action for them, anything like that, man, the floor is yours for that.
Thank you. So anybody can find me on all socials at ericnomics.com, mostly on Instagram. That's where I am most active and where I'm most responsive. TikTok, not so much. X is _ericnomics, so you can find me there as well too. Or also even LinkedIn and YouTube. I'm not super big there, but you can find me there as well too. And any words of wisdom? I don't know. Buy assets. Don't do stupid things. What is Will's?
He says, do good things, be good people, make a bunch of money.
Bunch of money. There you go. Yeah, I love it. So I'll piggyback off of his.
Cool. Thank you, man. Alex, have you got a final thought for the audience?
Nope.
Eric, the joke on our show is that Alex knows every day I am going to ask him for a final thought.
Every day.
Routinely, he will rug the final thought process to say, Evan, I actually have to answer just one more question. Usually, the teacher comes out and he'll answer 3 or 4. But it often happens that when I go to Alex for a final thought, he'll say, I got nothing. just like that. So your second chance, are you sure? Going once, going twice.
DeFi is inevitable.
DeFi is inevitable. And
I love that.
I'm going to give you a prediction from the 8 Ball. It says, risk it? ? Flip a coin. Oh boy, not financial advice from the 8 Ball there.
Damn it, 8 Ball. You had one job.
If you've got a question. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I ask a question.
Yes.
What is your guys' prediction that Bitcoin will hit by the end of 2026?
Like, what will the price land at, or what throughout the year might be the all-time high or low, or what?
Let's do both.
I think it'll land at 150, and I think it'll go above that. Maybe I don't feel bullish enough to say 250 because I feel like the market really hasn't determined where it wants to go, and there's so much macro stuff. But I feel like, you know, we can work our way up to 150. That's what I imagine.
Okay, Alex.
Yeah, so I have no idea. I'm terrible at guessing, and I don't like price predictions. So this is as made up a number as humanly possible. I don't know. In order for me to feel any kind of confident that something momentous would happen, I need to see something change. And right now, the only thing that I see happening is faith and trust in any semblance of the institution of the United States is just eroding. And so I think that could, here's my wishy-washy back and forth. In the short term, that's bad for Bitcoin because it's still very much tied to the performance of all that kind of stuff. I mean, you know, stock market's being driven by not very much. Like I said, you know, Bitcoin seems to just kind of be getting kicked repeatedly.
Yeah.
So I actually would not really be surprised if we have like a really flat, uneventful year. So you know, if we make a new all-time high, I think it would be only just like just a squeak over it. And then I don't think it would last that long. And I think that we honestly settle somewhere between here and all-time high.
Love that contrarian take. Okay.
What about you, brother?
I'm more in the wheelhouse of your kind of prediction. So I want to say 150 is where we land. 200 is where we'll hit.
Okay, I am gonna write this down. So we did this before, asking each other about, you know, where, when, that kind of thing. And we were all wrong. Everybody overshot it, and Alex was closest. I think, Alex, would you have like 118,000 was your prediction for year end, or 120,000 or something like that? And this was
something like that.
We were
I
making
made
this
that number
prediction
up
at
too.
a time
I got
when
no clue.
Bitcoin was higher than it is now. That's for sure.
Alex with the wisdom.
Yeah, and I do want to shout out a couple of comments because there were some really fun ones. 200 would be really nice, says Black. We have XRP to $10. We have 151, meaning 151,000, like the Pokemon. So when it happens, we will tell you about it. Awesome
XRP.
question.
$10.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I could see $10 in a hyper bullish scenario. But
I got burned. I don't know if you guys remember, but Brad Garlinghouse was like the richest person in the world at like one brief moment
Really?
back in like 2018 or something like that.
oh, when
Yeah.
it spiked.
Yeah, when it spiked up to like $3 or something like that, like it overtook like Bezos for like a hot second.
Proof that it's all imaginary.
I
Yeah.
know.
I don't know, man. We'll figure it
That's
out one day, or maybe we won't. But either way, when it happens, we will tell you about it. So thank you, everybody, for being the very best part of what we do. We're going to be back tomorrow, same time, same place, with another great episode of the Rise Up Morning Show. Until then, everybody, stay safe, be well, my friends. Rise up.